You think you're grown?
So you can see us and hear us. You can't see though. We're not doing video?
We are doing video. It's recorded.
So you can't, oh, you can't see us, but they can see us.
Yeah.
Can you turn down your headphones like a little bit?
Like, so you can hear yourself?
Yes. Hear like a
Oh, you know what? Maybe my thingy that I have will allow so that we could.
Oh, no, I don't want to see either.
No, I would love to see because
No,
it would help me to
absolutely.
be able to see myself.
No, the point
Like
is
on
to
a
forget.
stream or something.
The point is to forget that you're in front of a camera. There's actually not even a camera there.
What is that?
Jelly beans.
Let's do it. You get jelly beans from now.
I don't know.
Okay,
There's so many things I could have did.
obviously we're talking about breaking free because that's what we're promoting.
Okay.
So let's get ChatGPT to talk to us about or ask.
Well,
us
introduce
questions.
yourself because this is your podcast. Okay. Well, this is the Rogue Mom Breaking Free podcast.
Yeah, because I actually don't have a title because I've gone through like this is the Rogue Mom Breaking Free podcast, or this could be She Broke Free podcast, or it could be whatever the fuck I want it to be podcast, or How I'm Feeling Today podcast, or What Do You Want to Hear Today podcast, or I'm a Badass podcast. So I'm not sure what I want it to be.
Okay.
Take it,
Or
or
which-
which camera to look at.
I think that's your camera. This is,
Bloopers.
that's your camera. This is my camera.
Well, what if I want your camera?
But you're not looking into the lens. I'm
But I
looking.
like that one. So can my camera be that one and her camera be that one?
No. That's not how
But-
things work.
It is like
So essentially, what she meant and all that is this.
okay. Can we talk about boho braids?
But no.
Can we talk about boho braids? Because this is the thing out there. Everybody is wearing the boho braids, and I think this might be in line with breaking free. Because I think we need to break free and talk about boho braids.
How everybody's.
Yeah, everyone's wearing, and these things are no. You see this? You see this? This is my life. This is your life wearing them. We need to move on from the boho braids. I digress.
Have you maybe considered that maybe you just haven't
And now
developed
I don't
the
even know what
skill?
I look like.
maybe you haven't developed the skill to wear them? Because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be completely honest here. Anyone else I see, anyone else I see wearing boho braids, don't do that.
I need Day here so she could be my like.
But I don't see anyone else with boho braids doing that. So I think hey, you're the problem.
Okay, audio person. Do you see everybody with boho braids doing that? No. Slide you on. Okay. Moving on.
Anyway, so this is an introductory podcast, so she can get comfortable, get a few photos.
That really should be my camera. We could edit him out, right?
It's gonna be very different. We're recording. So the point of this is to get her comfortable talking in front of a camera and to get some content and photos. Right?
Right.
Okay. So today we're gonna use ChatGPT because she thinks I use it too much.
She has a psychosis.
That's what she thinks. So we're going to have ChatGPT give us topics to talk about relating to breaking free. But I need to say something more than breaking free. So what do I?
She broke free.
Okay, so.
You can say SBF. You can say
Okay, remember, this is
RGMBF.
my ChatGPT, not yours.
Oh.
So I got to be specific.
Oh, I thought you were
So,
trying to find
give
out
me-
something short for saying.
Give me
I missed
podcast
it.
questions relating to
It is so
breaking
hot.
free.
And you guys do like my armpits are.
Yep, all this is staying in. Breaking free from what?
Okay. What we want to breaking free from jail.
Okay, from breaking free. Okay, we're just gonna leave it at that.
Oh. Breaking free.
Okay. Oh,
Just breaking free.
dang, ChatGPT is good.
Psychosis. This is like a
Okay, I literally said, give me podcast questions relating to breaking free. Here's a list of podcast questions centered around the theme of breaking free. This can relate to personal growth, escaping limiting beliefs, leaving toxic environments, starting over, or taking bold steps toward a new life path. You can tailor this depending on your guest background or podcast tone. Tell me that's not a majority of
I'm
what.
feeling like I thought that my ChatGPT was unique to me, but apparently my ChatGPT is also yours.
No, I just think mine likes me more. Okay. So, what was, I don't like this question, but we could spin it. What was the moment you realized you needed to break free from your old way of thinking? Hey, this is a good one, actually, because we have stuff we can. Go ahead. What is the moment you realized you needed to break free from your old way of thinking?
My old way of thinking. Probably about 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I was in my house. 8 years ago. No, actually, we're going to go even further. We're going to say about 10 years ago. I was at the gym watching you play. You play basketball.
The Canto? It would be the Canto?
No, we were in Hernando.
Oh.
Really embarrassing event, actually. I was sitting up top in the bleachers. And I was wearing a dress. And I normally wear a dress.
I think I remember this.
Yes. And the dress, I guess I was sitting normally, but you actually could see underneath from the position that I was at. And I didn't even notice because I always go sit up front. And I remember, I don't know if it was you that told me later that it was, but I just remember thinking, man, I was sitting up there that whole time with my fat legs sitting out like that. I didn't even notice. Did my daughter's friends notice? Did they tell her? Was she up there playing basketball looking at my fat thighs? Like, I was thinking all of those things. And so put a pin in that. But I always remember that I didn't like the way I looked. And I was sitting in that bleachers just feeling like I looked fine. Like I didn't think I was showing how I felt I looked. So that was what it is. Like so that was the first time that how I felt I looked, I felt like someone also saw it.
Gosh. And what was funny too is that, like, I don't know if I was one that told you. I actually don't remember. I didn't even notice because I wasn't paying any mind at all. And the funny part is too is probably not many people were actually paying attention to you, which is also kind of the crazy part too. But that's yeah,
I hate it. But I felt like there was just a disconnection. So later on is when I would kind of go on this journey to lose weight. And I would say that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, was to try to lose weight, to focus on myself while being a wife, while being a mother, while being a pastor's wife, all of these roles that required me to not think of myself, to think of everybody else. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I actually failed at all of those other roles while I was trying to lose weight. Like there are beautiful people out there that manage to do this balance very well. They manage to like start their diet and keep up with their diet, still making their kids my favorite Mickey Mouse pancakes, because I love to use that.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I associate these women who seem to do it all right with making Mickey Mouse pancakes in the morning.
Them suckers are hard. I tried to do it.
I did too.
I tried to do that one morning with the ladies.
I got a blob.
Yeah, well, the bottle that I got, it wasn't the right bottle, and so I was trying to cut the tip and stuff, and it just came out, and the top popped off, and it didn't do what I wanted to do.
They now have the little cool things, I guess. But I wasn't one that could do that. So you saw different parts of my life start to kind of deteriorate as I started to focus on losing weight. So I'd say the first 3 months were really, really rough. Like you guys weren't eating. I wasn't. I think you were at college, so it didn't affect you too much. But Nas, like they weren't. I wasn't cooking dinner. I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't be around food. Like I wasn't not being a mom. Like obviously I was still taking care, but when it came down to like feeding and cook, any of those type of things, I had to stay completely out of it. So that had to be my focus. Mentally, I had to be locked in. Like, and I didn't have room to really care too much about other things that were going on because I just needed to focus in on just staying strong because that wasn't the first time that I tried to lose weight. Like you may not, I don't know if you've noticed or if you knew about it, but probably that was maybe my eighth time, which I was like, I'm going on a diet.
Yeah, I never do. Cause growing up, we never actually saw like I never remembered seeing an issue with your weight. So like we even like looking back at the photos, like there's never a point where like I ever thought about like weight or anything. And actually, I think with across anybody growing up, like I never really paid attention to like weight when describing people unless it was like you know an obvious like it was had a major impact on their lives like, and you could see it. I never really paid much attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like I never had anyone say anything negative to me regarding my weight. My weight accumulated because of the lack of focus on me. Like I just put myself last. I didn't I didn't feel that I was important enough to make space for. That was the problem. So in order to get myself into balance, I had to go completely out of balance. And I remember like going through it, crossing my fingers and hoping that my kids understood, you know, that my husband would get it because I think it was the hardest at the time on him because I was doing such a change. And in the end, the only relationship intact that came from that time probably was my kids. You know, it didn't work out so well with the husband. And I don't blame the husband at the time because in that transformation, in that focus on me, I learned a lot about me. I learned that there was so much about my life that I really didn't enjoy doing that I was pretending to do. I learned that I was stronger in all of these other areas and I wanted to focus in on those areas. I realized I was good at business. I realized I was good at organizing. Like I was good at these other things that I was not even putting any time to. All my focus was being or playing these roles that were directly related to my husband at the time. So, you know, no fault of his that I did a 180 and I was no longer the person that he married. And that wasn't, I don't blame him for his reaction to that 180.
Yeah.
Do I wish it, you know, could have been different? Of course, obviously. But I wasn't in a place where I was willing to trade the freedom that I had just found for that marriage.
Yeah.
And in an ideal world, I wouldn't have had to,
Yeah.
but that was the case. So, long answer.
I mean, I guess like, do you think that if you were going through that phase, maybe with someone who was also going through that kind of like metamorphosis, you know, it would have went a little bit different? Or do you think just the person you came, it just kind of clashed with the life that like they wanted and was
Maybe, yeah. And maybe in retrospect, being able to communicate through that space, you know, me learning that I was hiding so much in my life to be happy. I was almost being a whole different person, there was nothing authentic about me at that time. So had I been able to communicate that, but I didn't have the words and I didn't understand it as I was going through. So the the dieting, that was all I could hold on to. Like that was that metamorphosis for me. Like that was that thing that um that that gave me like a grounding. Okay, so that was the start, and then I just start to lean in to, okay, why was I eating at midnight? Um, why was I saying yes to things when I really wanted to say no? Like this is when I started to realize that those behaviors were actually not serving me. Like me being sacrificial all the time wasn't in my best. It wasn't healthy for me.
Yeah.
And I think as women, sacrificial, that goes with mom, it goes with wife. Like it's almost, mom sacrificial. You might just add it to the title of anything that's related to
Sacrifice
that.
of moms.
Sacrifice. That's what we are told to do. That's what we're taught to do. So me saying yes, me pretending and playing these roles for safety, for protection, for so that I didn't rock the boat, was something that was normal. And it ended up tracing so far back in my life that that even would take another 4 years or 5 years to even understand where that traced back to. So so to answer your question, I don't think, even if he was probably going through it, men and women are very different. And at that time, what he believed and what society would have believed my responsibilities were to a husband, to my children, all of those things were not in line with what I was trying to do at the time.
Yeah.
And so he would have had to been willing to change his way of thinking for me. And that wasn't what happened.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. I think probably for me the mindset shift per se would, I think, probably more recently. I kind of had different times like throughout college where I started focusing on my mental a lot more when I was dealing with stuff with basketball and school and just like life stuff. But I think recently focusing on just like trusting myself and being confident in the things that I know and the things that I'm capable of doing. Just really just kind of focusing on that and really just blocking out the noise. Because I think this was like, I think a few weeks ago when I was working on stuff for the printing business. Going online for months, trying to research stuff, learning the DTF printer, encountering all the issues, late nights trying to talk to these people overseas. Like, so much work has gone in, and I'm so confident now in this machine and the prints that I'm making and how well the stuff is holding up on the shirts. And then when we go on the cruise, we run into this guy. His name's Ken. He's awesome. And he gives us this he gives us a bunch of information because he used to run a printing company. And so now he's telling me about screen printing. And so I get back and then I start looking into that a bit more. And then the week where I'm like starting to make some progress, sit down, look up a company that he mentioned. And then they had a course on screen printing. And during this time, I was realizing that like the more work that I just kept putting in and kept like just working on taking steps forward, regardless of what happened, that's when things started to show up. And later that weekend, we had an event. We had an event planned, and I had to work because I'm a caregiver, and so I brought the printer home. I was like, I'm gonna print nonstop. We're gonna prepare for this event. We're gonna go crazy.
Everything.
And the printer broke, and it broke in a way where I couldn't fix it. And it was a Saturday, and so the people in China were already off. I couldn't do anything about it. So I had this printer that was just a paperweight right now because I couldn't do anything, and it sucked, and I was so upset. But luckily, we weren't gonna go to the event. We pushed through, and then it ended up being really cool. We ended up meeting a lot of cool people. I had someone compliment just like the how I display my products and stuff, and it just kind of kept kind of holding this idea of just like keep taking steps forward, and like things are gonna show. It may not show the way you wanted to. Like, of course, it would have been great if we would have made a ton of bank that that weekend, but it didn't happen that way. But we still made connections. We got to learn more about the community, how they interact, where they go, and which is gonna help us with doing things later on, and then still just pushing forward and learning other things. And me being able to find screen printing equipment, every single bit of equipment that I needed for pennies on the dollar, basically, for what I would have been paying.
I think that was probably a hard one for us that weekend.
That was tough.
Usually we are aware of the fact that things are going to happen that are out of our control, right? But there is this element to what we put our hands on ourselves. We can kind of push through. Yep. So, we can control what we are physically doing, and we understand that there are circumstances outside of that are going to come, and we usually pivot very well with that. But this time, like, there wasn't anything we can do. Like, everything was blocked.
Yeah. Like,
just every area. And it was like, okay, we really were just going to have to accept this and also accept it, but make sure that we didn't, you didn't think that was, it didn't mean that you weren't capable, that we shouldn't continue, all that had nothing to do with it. Yeah, like, you still know what you're doing, your still baseline knowledge is still good. Like, all this stuff is still true, but shit just happens. Like, literally just,
it just can't plan for it.
It just happens.
And literally, like, that Thursday before the event, left for Atlanta. The next morning, Friday morning, I had the class until like later in the day. Right after that class, I drove back, and on my way back, I added an extra 2 hours on my trip home just so I could go pick up the DTF equipment, so I could bring it back, so I could prepare for the market on Sunday and just print all day Saturday. And then so all day Saturday, I'm just messing with the printer, trying to get it to work. And the thing that was broken, it was something that, like, I wouldn't have even known. I didn't even know that could get broken. I didn't even know that could. And it was just a slight adjustment, the most slightest thing. But we pushed through. And even that the Sunday morning of the event, she was exhausted. And she's like, yeah, I'm not waiting. She was like,
I'm not going.
Yeah. and it was funny. I was like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't. And then she had said, yeah, we shouldn't, I'm tired and all this stuff. And then as soon as she said she was tired, I was like, no, that makes me want to go now. We gotta go. And then so we got to the office, we loaded up some just a few things to set up a table, and we showed up, and it was a cool day.
It was actually one of my best events that I went to. I was really, really glad that I listened to you and decided and go.
It's a demand avoidance.
Yeah, because normally I would have been like, I'm not going. I don't care what you say. Like, I'm not going. But
it's like a trigger for me. Like, it's like, I'm too tired. Maybe I should do this. And then, like, I get into that mindset, and usually I'll just try and, like, just push through it. But, like, when I hear somebody else do, I'm like, dang, that's how I sound. Okay, no, we got to do it. It's different when you hear somebody else, like, right next to you say the same thing. You're like, okay.
Yeah, I hear how that sounds.
Yeah, you hear it, and you're like, because if it's a potential opportunity, and you're already tired, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll stay home. But you hear me saying, like, yeah, it's just been a rough week. I don't know if I should do it, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. It was just hearing somebody else hear what I'm thinking or saying. It was just like,
pushing through that mentality is really, really hard. Yeah. It's one thing to push through where, you get faced with you wanting to quit, or I don't think I can do this, or there's all these like, to have to deal with that maybe once every couple of weeks. But like, when you have those periods where everything continues to kind of keeps lining up, and you find yourself like having to push through over and over again, that makes it really, really difficult. And you almost have to have this like I always say, a home base. Like, okay, why am I doing this? What is it that we're trying to achieve? And go back to that space and be like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I'm confident in what I'm doing and what I'm trying to achieve. So even though that happened, that happened, that happened, that happened, that happened, that happened, and that happened,
And that.
okay, I'm gonna come back
Yeah.
and I'm still gonna continue. And it's okay to pivot too. Like sometimes I think we get caught up in how we think something should happen, or how, we have this and it should look like this and it should go this way. It's okay to that goal to still be there, and we have to pivot and go a different way to achieve it. And it doesn't mean anything less about you or what you're trying to do. We just, okay, this route it's not going to work, this route. Like I'm gonna change up and I'm gonna go this route. What is important about this is that we get there.
Yeah.
Like that's I'm going to get there. Now it's this way that we're going.
Yeah.
And I think in business probably that's the hardest thing
Yeah.
especially while life is lifing, because we all know that in business that's just business. While we are running this line of business, we're running this line of family, we're running this line, if you have to work, this line of work. Like we're running all of these lines at the same time. And a lot of times what we need to stand firm on with business, we're also trying to stand firm on with family or with, work. Like all of these things, we're still trying to do the same thing on repeat in all of these different lanes. And that can be mentally exhausting.
Trying to hit all the points.
Yep.
Always. Yeah.
Because with everything, and everyone should have a goal at the end of all of these lanes. Like you should have a goal related to your career. You should have a goal related to your relationships. You should have a personal goals to your development. Like you should have all of these, a goal towards them, and trying to hit some of those marks at the same time or in a particular order can be kind of hard.
Yeah.
And
when you were like when you're talking and then you mentioned it, but I was thinking it, like the confidence part, how big of a deal that is, because a lack of self-confidence, especially what I realized, obviously people say this stuff, but then you get to a moment where you actually like realize it and you're like, okay, they weren't lying, I didn't ask ChatGPT this time actually, so
sure.
Yeah.
I did.
But it becomes sabotage. It becomes self-sabotage. When you're not trusting yourself in some of these spaces, whether it's business, sports, life, whatever it is, by not by operating with hesitancy or trying to just kind of follow what everybody else is doing because you're afraid of being your full true self, like you end up sabotaging yourself. You end up not being able to reach the heights that you want to reach. You end up not achieving the goals that you want to achieve simply because you're just not believing in yourself.
That limiting belief. So what do you think? Because you can be confident wrong.
Yeah.
Like
That's
you can
true.
like, so, and that sounds funny. Like I feel like there are some boxes to check off.
Yeah.
So that you can be confident and so that you can trust yourself that what I'm trying to do is right, or what, like say you're trying to be an actress and you're not going to school and you're not practicing your craft, you're not doing any of these things, and then you want to trust that you can get this job over here.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, and I've in my self podcast that I have in the car during my long drives.
I have it in the bathroom too.
Yeah, in the bathroom. Oh, okay. Yeah, that works too. A little steamy, but works. Yeah. But I was thinking about like basically this idea of like working like you're the worst and then but thinking like you're the best. And I think you really just need both of those things, because
Working like you're the worst and thinking like you're the best.
yeah,
I
I think that works, and that mentality is kind of working for me right now. It's like, okay, like just keep working hard, finding new information, all this stuff, and approach things like as if you're the best. Even if you're not, still approach it like you're the best, because if you're not, you're gonna do the work to make sure that you are.
Yeah.
And just
so
keep
it's balanced. So
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So you're continuing that cycle of like, okay, you can confidently keep going into these spaces because you know that you're going to do the work. You either already have done the work or you're getting ready to do the work to make sure that you can continue to be in that space and feel comfortable in that space too. Same thing with sports too. Like, yeah, 100% I could walk onto a court and say, I can, I can walk onto a court and be like, yeah, I can dunk. Well, like, it don't matter how much work I do, I'm not gonna dunk. But I could, but you know, a more realistic thing would be like, okay, like, I can confidently shoot. I know I can shoot the ball. I know I can shoot the ball in front of anybody. I can do that. And but doing that, but then also being like, I'm putting up this many shots a week to make sure that I can shoot in front of anybody confidently.
Right.
Like, so you gotta, I think you just always have to have that balance. So
yeah. Confidence is important.
yeah.
Now, do you believe in the statement "fake it till you make it"?
Yes, definitely. I think fake it till you make it, I think is good. Always combine with that work. Like, I think you always got to combine it with the work though. Yeah, because then it just becomes like you're just fake.
Right.
Like,
very true.
Like,
Yeah.
you're just fake. But if you're actually like doing the work and
Because you're in line to, you're doing everything to make it. Like, it's not just,
yes,
you know.
you're just kind of I guess stepping into that energy maybe a little sooner than expected, but yeah, if you're doing the work, yeah, fake that mess all you want. Fake it till you make it, because you're gonna get there anyways, and at least you're attracting the energy to help you get there faster.
Right.
Maybe you're attracting the people, the opportunities, whatever it is. Maybe it's gonna help you attract that a lot faster because people sense that. People know. I think you mentioned this a while ago, like how when you walk into spaces, like, people are drawn to you. And so if you have that already, and then you're working on, you know, creating a platform for yourself, building your own like personal brand, you're building the confidence in speaking about your story and how to talk about your story, these things. Well, like, you already got people looking at you, and now you're working on this part, so now it's just like you just gotta go.
All the components.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you always just have to have the work, because I think people try and skip out on that part, and it just don't work. And you gotta keep learning too
I
about.
think that comes in line with being honest with yourself too, because confidence, like, if you are lying, you're going to know you're lying. Like, you yourself know you're lying before anybody else knows you're lying. So do you trust yourself if you know you're lying? If you know you're not this, and you're not working towards this, like, you can fake a lot of things, but you can't fake who you are to yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
Man, like, it's with like basketball, because like in St. Augustine, like, I didn't realize, you know, until recently, I signed up for this 2v2 competition, and hearing, you know, he put up a post talking about just like how he had heard about me, and it was from this coach in St. Augustine. His name's Larry, and he's an awesome dude. He was a security guard at Flagler, and he was so helpful in so many different ways, from basketball, school stuff to business stuff. Like, he's just always been real helpful. But hearing that, you know, he'd be referencing me and him, referencing me during their workouts, or when he's working out with the kids, and like the girl does like a really nice move, it's like, oh, you looking like Jazz. And it was crazy to hear that, because I was like, I didn't think I made that much of an impact. Like, I really didn't. And so seeing that also made me realize, it's like, okay, clearly I'm doing something right. Why is how I feel about myself not matching that? Why do I feel like I don't deserve this? Why do I feel like they're doing me a favor for doing that? Not that I actually did something to deserve that. And that was part of it too. Just part of that realization these last few weeks. It was just like, okay, I need to let myself be great. Accept the fact that I am good at something. And just
not apologize for it.
Yes. I don't have to worry about how others feel about me being good at something. I don't need to diminish myself to make other people feel better about themselves. Like, I don't need to do those things, because it's like, me just being myself impacts people.
Right.
So maybe I should just be myself. Make it easy. No. How much time we got?
5 minutes.
Okay, so let's pick another really deep question. That'll take another hour. Let's see. Oh,
I don't like that one.
yeah, I'm skipping that one. That one's too deep.
Remind me never to touch the AC in this place again.
Why'd you touch it to begin with? This is the one
Because I was
place.
like, it's freezing in here.
Okay. How do you maintain boundaries to avoid going back to what you left?
Oh, goodness. That is, I don't think that you ever stop trying to maintain boundaries. I think, um, for me, it's a realization, an understanding of what I've been through to get here. And for me, that is a lot of sacrifice. Relationships lost, whole communities that I was a part of gone. The realization that I have failed in many areas in terms of raising my kids. There is some damage there that I can't go back and fix, that I had to just accept. There was a cost that I paid to be the woman that I am today, good and bad. So it's important that I don't slide back on some of those things, because it makes me feel like what it was wasted, some of the things that I had to endure as a result of it. So that has me at a line. Okay, so I'm not going back that way. That's a boundary there. And then moving forward, it's intentional every day, because I am a person that likes to see people, I want to see people happy. I love to be the person that makes them happy. So saying no is really hard. Like, I want to say yes to everybody and everything. If it's going to give me that glimpse, that twinkle in their eye, if I can make them happy, if I can be a part of their dream, I will say yes to it. And I have to fight that every day not to do it. Every single day. I have to fight to choose me in a life that I am spread very thin. And I don't say that complaining. I love my life, but I am spread thin. And so I have to figure out ways to choose me when I don't want to, when it's easier to just, put myself to the side. But doing that creates a pattern for me, and I always have to remember it. So every day I'm kind of doing this. Okay, did I really mean to do that? Did I say yes to that because I wanted to say yes to that?
Yeah.
Did I go here because I wanted to? Am I doing this because it serves me? Am I not doing this because it doesn't serve me? Like, I have to constantly remind myself and talk to myself every day. And I also have to give myself permission to not get it right every day.
Yeah.
Because life is is a going, evolving thing every day. So there is a hard line of what I won't go back to. And I strive every day to reinforce my boundaries and do things that serve me within the space of living. So, because a lot of times we get out there, and once we realize how, I'm protecting my peace and all of this great rhetoric, because it sounds great, but we have to also be emotionally mature. And so it's really easy to get to the place that I'm at right now and call everybody toxic.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really easy to do. They don't understand me. They're the ones that are bad.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of fight that too. You have to be balanced in this journey. And that's what it is. Life is a journey every day. Choosing me when I can, being okay when I can't, because sometimes circumstances don't allow it, but not in the same way where it was causing me pain before.
Yeah.
And understanding that difference.
Yeah.
And that takes time and wisdom and intention, and you don't get there overnight.
Yeah.
So
I think the boundaries I have to set every day is kind of, it's mainly just like internally in my own brain because I take in a lot from people. I take in their body language. I take in, when I'm talking about something, I know when their attention goes, like I'm paying attention to a lot. And so usually what would happen is if I'm saying something, I will, and I notice that they're starting to kind of not pay attention and not give the same vibe, I'll just kind of cut what I'm saying short, or I just won't finish, or whatever it is. And then no one will notice, and then the conversation will just continue on to something else. But like forcing myself to like, no, like what I have to say is important and it should be valued. And I'm going to, whether or not you listen or not, I'm going to finish saying it because it's more for me and me just knowing that like I should value what I have to say. And if they don't, well, like that's a loss to them because I just said some really nice shit.
And I fight through to do that within conversations.
Yes.
So like, and I remember, and even sometimes I still do it today. Like I'll say like, no, I'm going to say this. No, I'm going to say this. like I have to say this. I don't know but I have to say it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago and I had said, and without context, like, it sounds toxic. Like I was like, no, you're gonna listen to me. And in toxic settings you're like, you're gonna listen. Like, no, it wasn't even like that, but it was like, you're gonna listen to me because it's like what I have to say is important in this moment and I just don't feel like you're actually listening and hearing me. And I want you to know, like, I need you to listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying, I think it's important, and I don't think that you're gonna actually get what I truly feel or so if you don't actually just listen to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, hear me. And in the moment, of course, it sounds bad. You're like, you're gonna listen to me. No, but it's like I need you to just
context.
Yes, exactly.
There's context to some of these.
Yeah.
When you do the work, when you're interested, when you're emotionally intelligent, like sometimes these statements from someone who doesn't understand it and see it, it can come off as being like you're real straight toxic. Okay, but there's a history here. Like there is.
Yes.
I would normally not do this.
Yes.
So I'm doing this now because I have to, like, this is important for me to do it.
Yes.
There's a change. I'm changing a behavior. It just seems like it's toxic, but it's not.
Yep. So like any of those moments where it's like where I do notice their reaction, or where I'm about to do something that like I know I should be doing, but it may affect somebody else, just quickly, like, just kind of flicking out my brain. So it's just a lot of that, just like, nope, just keep going, nope, just keep going, nope, just keep going. And that's just kind of a lot of what it is, just setting that own kind of boundary within my own brain, like, okay, you're trying to go that way, nope, out. Like, just really just kind of be intentional with what I'm thinking.
And do you think everybody deserves you to do that for them, or you to do that with?
I think right now I am just trying to care less about them completely. Because the thing is like, the more confident I am in the things that I want to do are going to naturally impact the people around me. Like everything that I want to do, from business, basketball, whatever it is, it's like the goal is to impact people, impact communities. So if I have to build myself up and my confidence up right now and just focus on me and my internal thoughts to get to that point where I can be comfortable eventually speaking in front of people, being able to give direction to others, being able to lead a business, lead teams, things like that. Well, like I just gotta focus on me.
Right.
And so if that, offends you, that I care less about you, and I mean, sorry. But it's also those people who have created that in me, because why are you not valuing what I have to say? Why, like, because if you valued what I had to say, well, then I wouldn't have to push through. I wouldn't have to push past this thing of like noticing.
Barrier.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to push past it. But if you were okay with me being my true self and me being, good at something, me, maybe being better at you than something, if you're okay with that, then I wouldn't have to push back past this. So it's these people who have created this in me that I now have to push past. And unfortunately, people around me now just have to deal with it if they even notice, because a lot of it, like I said, it's just internal. A lot of it's just internal. So
I'm not sure how we close out a podcast. Besides that,
this one might be a little choppy, okay? But we learning.
we learning.
We gonna get better.
And we do something like, thank you for playing the lotto.
No, not that. Okay, hold on. All right, I got you.
How do you
Because hold
close
on,
out-
hold on. Hey, ChatGPT. Hello.
Shouldn't even like
Hey there, how's it going? What's on your mind today?
Nothing. Well, I just finished a podcast with my mother, and it's called the She Broke Free podcast, I think. And we are signing off. Could you sign off for us real quick?
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the She Broke Free podcast. It's been amazing having you with us. Until next time, keep breaking free and living your best life. Take care.
We might keep that. ChatGPT, sign us off.
Oh, oh, sorry.
I really actually do like that.
I have the recording.